Wanted to make an unscripted video about the sacral chakra. I was out here in the woods that I am blessed with outside of my apartment, and I was sitting here dealing with something that I think me and a lot of people have been dealing with lately, and that's anger and processing some of our base emotions that I think have been surging up in people. And I would say lately, but honestly, I'm a millennial. I was around for Columbine. I was around when we ran into Iraq. I was there when health services failed, and it had to be us, a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids doing counseling for the warriors that would come home from the desert completely flabbergasted at their own awareness of the idea that maybe they weren't fighting for good over there, as we've been told. And I think that idea, what we've been told, has also percolated to the surface, and you have people questioning what we've been told. And I posted in another video, like, a lot of that goes back to the Enlightenment and the idea that, like Nietzsche said, like, we killed God with logic and replaced God with conscience, with science. And the problem is that the scientists were never our moral center and never claimed to be. And I think now what is morality, and indeed what is reality, and what is true, and certainly what is objectively true, like what is true in all cases rather than just true subjectively from one person's point of view, all of that is now up in the air. And because of that, and because of that uncertainty, we go deep within ourselves to try to find stability, because it's not in our environment, so we have to find it somewhere. So we go within, and that's where anxiety comes from. That's where this uncertainty comes from. But more than that, I think as we go within, and there are other ways of going within. There's meditation. Some people do it with drugs, honestly. Some people do it with therapy, deep thought. I mean, heck, even listening to music can do it. When you go in, you find your emotions, because your emotions are there, especially your deep ones. And it's easy to feel despair at all of this uncertainty, and that's certainly a core emotion. And as you apply Reiki, or even the idea of being better or feeling better or doing better to it, you can ascend in your vibrational stance, your emotional stance. But that doesn't mean you just become happy. You don't go from despair to happiness. Even Reiki can't do that. The next layer up is anger, and there's a lot of anger right now. And yeah, there's a lot of anger from people at me, at the idea of being gaslit, at the idea of knowing one's own reality through meditation, spirituality, whatever. And for other people, they have identities like being gay and being trans and being black and being Latino in the United States. And not everybody understands that. And then you go to express it, which is the natural next step. Like, you become angry, you identify what you want, and you make steps towards doing that. And part of what I think everyone wants is to be able to be who they are openly, and being who you are means your emotions and being able to express your emotions. And I think in a lot of cases coming up now is being able to express your hurt. And when you express hurt, you're holding people responsible for hurting, and a lot of people don't like that. And that's where a lot of the gaslighting comes from, is people naturally holding people responsible for their decisions, and other people feeling like they don't like how that looks to them, and so creating confabulated, distorted versions of reality. And that leads to this feeling of uncertainty, because everyone is crafting their own reality. And there's your emotions, and I say the emotions because the emotions flow from your sacral. That's sort of the house of the free-flowing primal emotions of your being. When those emotions start flowing, it can feel like it's adding to the chaos. And so, I've had to learn that though there are people who have hurt me, it is often because they themselves are trying to manage their own reality. And that their own reality is a reality of suffering, and it's a reality of overwhelmment, like being overwhelmed. It's a reality of other people being problems for them and not appreciating how hard their lives are. And so people who are in those contentious, malevolent, upset, angry, confabulated states, they lash out. And that hurts people, and then you hold them responsible for what they said. Hey man, you hurt me, I need an apology. And they just won't do it because they don't have the energy to even maintain what they have going on. And so here we are as a human race in this state where all of these deeper emotions are coming to the surface, and we have the boomer generation who says, well, the real problem is that back in our day, everyone never talked about their emotions, and so none of this contention, none of these problems came up. So they look back and they say, well, everything was fine back in the day. No one talked about any of this and everything was fine. Yeah, no one talked about it because anytime someone did talk about it, the entire community turned on them and ostracized them into non-existence. Like, that's, in some societies, there's literally, like, rungs of the societies called untouchable, which is literally that. Like, go away from society and do not come within touching distance of people who are keeping things civil. You know what I mean? And to me, this idea that we're now all integrating, the world is becoming very small, as we populate, and because of technology allowing us to instantly communicate with each other, we have all of these people in different vibrational states coming right up against each other and bringing these emotions to the surface. And that is why I really like talking about the sacral chakra, because though once you get into your gut, which gives you everything you need to know, your gut instinct or whatever, yeah, intuition can be wrong too, guys, or your heart, which is kind of fickle depending on how you feel in the moment, or even your brain, which has all the information but oftentimes can be very distant from your emotions. Your sacral presents your emotions to you as they are. And by seeing them and feeling them as they are, you can gain wisdom from them. And you can come into your own and eventually get to the place where once you sort through the hurt, and I don't mean sort through like mentally, I mean sort through like allow the emotions to flow, rather than gaslighting yourself and telling you that you shouldn't be feeling this and you shouldn't be feeling that, and oh, if I wasn't feeling so bad then I would, or if I could do this and make this person say or do da 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 and then I wouldn't feel bad. The sacral is beyond all of that and a much more essential, essence-based, primordial sort of way. And that's why it can teach you, and that's why it can give you wisdom. Because as the emotions flow, you see that, like, water isn't good or bad. A storm can be bad for a person who, I don't know, who doesn't want their house wrecked. But if you're not worried about a house getting wrecked, a storm is just an exciting time. And that's why I invite you to see your deeper emotions as these emotions come out as. See them as a passing storm. They're not infinite. This bad feeling or anxious feeling that you may be caught up in, it's not infinite. There's a flow, there's an ebb and flow, and there's an end to everything and there's a beginning to everything. So they're worth feeling and they're worth going through and they're worth processing and they're worth changing because of. And yeah, I mean, if you change and there are people who say, well, I don't like how you've changed, and I'm going to gaslight you to tell you that your change is wrong or the reason for your change is wrong, and you just need to go back to whenever I could be controlling the entire idea of reality between the two of us. Like, yeah, sometimes changing so that you're not susceptible to such things anymore is a good thing, and those who are gaslighting or those who are manipulating or those who are doing drama at you aren't going to like that, and that's okay, because you have your emotions, and once you learn your emotions and feel your emotions and trust your emotions and ride your emotions to an even better feeling or an even better vibration, that's expansion. That's the spiritual quest. And once you have that, you don't need them approving you, because you'll have your own approval, which will be worth 10,000 of them. Thanks, guys.